Hi, my name's Henry, and welcome to the Henry Cast. Today, we're going to be talking about traveling abroad alone. Most people have the dream about traveling sometime in their life, and preferably very often, this is traveling abroad. However, traveling abroad can have its challenges. Languages you don't speak, currency, financial issues, new places, new things. Especially if you're an introvert, it doesn't really help meeting new people and seeing new places. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Because a lot of people have been asking me recently with the summer holidays coming up, how do you travel alone, especially abroad? A few years ago, back in 2014, I decided to backpack Europe alone. I mean, sure, I was out of high school, finished my first year of college, and hey, I was up for adventure. So I just booked an airline ticket and within a month, flew off to France. From there, I took buses, trains, all across Europe, from Amsterdam to Berlin. And today, look at me, I'm still alive. So, today we're going to be talking about traveling alone abroad. Probably one of the first things that people think is fear when traveling alone abroad. Because, again, you're in a new situation that, heck, you don't know what can happen. But that, so many other things in life are pretty much the same thing. You don't know until you try. It's really hard, especially when you're introverted, because new situations, people, things, languages, foods, etc., they can all be challenging to face, especially when you're an introvert. You can be very tired very fast. So I made up some tips that can hopefully help you, well, just get out there and travel. Probably the first and easiest thing you can do is literally choose a date and book your plane tickets. This pretty much forces you to act. Back in 2014, when I decided to travel to Europe, I literally, back in February, booked my tickets online with Air Canada, and that gave me a confirmed date, as well as the return tickets. So I had my start date and my ending date. Now all I had to fill was the center of the sandwich trip, whatever you want to call it. So pretty much choosing a date, if you're in good financial status, is pretty much the thing to do first. Having backup money, so family, friends, etc., is good to know as well. So for example, if somebody robs you, knock on wood, if you run out of money for partying, you'll have a good backup plan. It's a hint. My second tip is try hostel or Airbnb, or just some general crowdfunding idea. The way I say this is that sure, anyone can stay in a hotel, and trust me, they're expensive. Over $100 to $200 a night, and that's not even in the center of Paris. Back in 2014, and the prices are pretty much around the same. I had an Airbnb for less than 20 euros a night, and I had my own kitchen, washrooms, pretty much everything to myself. That being said, you stay with 4 other people in the same room, but trust me, they weren't serial killers, and I actually met some of the coolest people there. I met friends from Germany, met people from New Zealand, all around the world. And honestly, staying in a hostel or Airbnb, you get to meet new people, learn a few things such as language, culture, and you get some travel buddies, which is probably the most important thing. I remember back in 2014, I met a few Canadians and Germans back in my first hostel in Paris. And I still have many of them on Facebook today, and we're great friends. So number 2, try hostel or Airbnb or something. Even if you're an introvert or if you've never tried it before, I'd say give it a go because you never know. And hey, try new things. I highly suggest it. Worst comes to worst, you get a few travel buddies that you can have a beer with. And if you don't like it, hey, at least you tried. My third tip is kind of leading into first too, and that's kind of have goals, but remember to be flexible. So yeah, you do want to go to Paris, or you do want to go to Germany, or you do want to have ice cream from different countries, or whatever your goal is. But also be flexible, because you never know what you can learn about yourself, the country, or any other new opportunities. So don't be afraid to add 1 or 2 days in for wiggle room. Probably one of the most important is number 4. Don't be afraid to ask questions, whether it be for obvious things such as the washroom, or if there's any cool cafes or other things around, especially creperies if you're in Paris. Henry's tip number 5 is train, bus, and airplanes. Honestly, Europe is all trains, and a few roads and airplanes in between. In North America, we have a lot of roadways, but trust me, in Europe, especially Paris, France, that general area, trains are amazing, especially if you're in the middle of the country of Germany. Websites such as Rome to Rio and other sites such as Google Maps can definitely help you with public transportation. Heck, even Uber in a lot of cities. My only tip is obviously check ratings. If the train is going to take more than the bus, then you might as well just take the bus. Henry's tip number 6. Have a group if you go into sketchy places. Well, sure, it kind of sounds like common sense, but you'll be surprised. I personally never had a personal conflict or any struggle in an urban environment when I traveled in Europe, but I had those friends I met at Airbnb, and we traveled together. Sure, City of Lights, it's very, very bright, but it's always nice to have a few friends as backup, just in case. Number 7, try something new. Again, don't be afraid to try some new things, and with this being said, don't be afraid to try new experiences when they're handed to you. You'll be surprised about experiences people can turn down when they're nervous. For example, while waiting in line to the Louvre in Paris with my new friends, we were offered 3 tickets, well, 3 of us, to skip the line. A gentleman just had to go. Hospital issue, so he tried to sell his tickets. It could have been a scam. That guy in the Louvre uniform could have been a scammer. But no, we decided to take a risk. Why not? And we wound up skipping the 2-hour line into the Louvre. How lucky could you get? Sometimes saying yes, even if you don't know the outcome, hey, you never know. My last tip for the day is don't be afraid to take pictures and/or journal. You gotta show these cool events to your friends and family somehow, right? And if you're not an avid storyteller, don't be afraid to take a few selfies or to write down on a notepad what your day was like. Honestly, I still have to show my parents my pictures years later, but at least I have them. And heck, maybe you'll get a cool selfie in the end too. So this was my episode, well, the hints so far, of traveling alone abroad somewhere new. I'm just going to end it on a personal note and saying traveling by myself was probably one of the most amazing experiences I have ever had. And again, we all want to do it, well, most of us anyways, but you don't do it until you do it. That's the biggest thing. So literally, going back to my first hint of literally once you have enough money that you can safely do it, book a plane or train or however you're going to get there and go. Because if you just sit there all day and you say, oh, I want to do this, but don't act on it, then what's the use? Don't be afraid to try new things, meet new people, and get out of your comfort bubble. Because 10, 20, 50 years from now, would it really matter that, oh, you were nervous in public? No. But you tried something new. Thanks, guys, and have a great day. Let me know what you thought of this little podcast. And that's about it. I just wanted to try something new. If you have any questions or ideas for new podcasts, or if you want to hear more about traveling, let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And as always, happy landings. Good night.